Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda श्री चैतन्य चरितामृत की जय। श्रील कृष्णदास कविराज गोस्वामी की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम राम राम
Ram Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Dear devotees, welcome to our daily Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita reading. Today is also the first day of Purushottam Mass. On the request of devotees, we have decided to recite Bhagavad Gita chapter 15 and Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto chapter 14. Not all the verses, but there's quite a few. 1 to 47 verses every day. So I saw it'll take about 15 minutes if we recited only Sanskrit uh, at my speed. So I will be reciting it unmuted, staying unmute, and you can all keep yourselves on mute and you can recite along with me. And when we keep reciting it every day, then you'll become familiar after a few days and you'll also pick up with the speed. And if you also, just so that you also understand, you have two options. Either you can read the translations on your own later on to know what the shlokas mean if you feel it's too long, or if you like, I'll just read after the Sanskrit, I'll just read the English. If only I read, it'll be quicker because already we are doing half an hour for Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is extra. So if I did the English translations, it might take half an hour, I'm assuming, total with Sanskrit and translations. So there won't be any discussion, no questions and answers. We will just read, recite all the shlokas, and then we will just read the English translation if you prefer. Otherwise, if you want only for 15 minutes, we can simply do the Sanskrit. The other thing is, we don't have Chaitanya Charitamrit class on Saturday and Sunday. So I don't know. Saturday is still for Chaitanya Bhagavat, everybody comes. So we can do it on Saturdays also. But Sundays, we go to the temple, so it's not possible. But when you do it in Purushottam Mass, you do it every day. So then on those days, you will have to find time and do it on your own sometime during the day on Sundays. And also when we have like this Saturday is Rath Yatra, so we may not have class. It's Gita Nagari Rath Yatra. So in that case also, you'll have to do it on your own. So, but with good intention, we are starting. And then if on certain days we are not able to do it together, then it's upon the individual to just do it on their own on those days. With that we can do. So we will just read Chaitanya Charitamrita now for half an hour, and after that for 1 month until the for the Purushottam Mass, for 1 month we will be reciting Bhagavad Gita chapter 15 and Srimad Bhagavatam 10th canto chapter 14 Brahmastuti. So let's begin now with Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. We are reading from the Adi Leela chapter 17, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes in his youth, and we were reading about Mahaprabhu's Nagar Sankirtan. So, how Mahaprabhu ordered when Chand Kazi threatened threatened the devotees. He broke the mridanga and he said that they could not chant. Then they were afraid and they went and told Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or they told Nimai, Lord Chaitanya, how Chand Kazi had forbidden them to chant. And Mahaprabhu said, go back and do Sankirtan. And now this was Mahaprabhu's order, so they went back and they tried to do Kirtan, but they were very fearful. The Lord realized, understanding the fear in the heart of the devotees, he called all of them and he said, today evening we are going to go on a civil disobedience march. Everybody bring torches, like that. And then he also said, decorate the city. I'm going to go personally. We'll do Nagar Sankirtan. So there we also read, Srila Prabhupada explained how Mahaprabhu set the example when there is opposition. When we chant Hare Krishna, there will be opposition. But how the opposition can be dealt with reason and argument, following in the footsteps of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, like that. So then, when everyone assembled in the evening, Mahaprabhu, we also saw, arranged the devotees in Kirtan parties. Mahaprabhu said there were 3 parties, and in each party there were 21 devotees. One is a lead singer, there were 4 mridangas in each party, 16 kartals, like that, and others are following. So we'll continue from there. आगे संप्रदाय नृत्य कोरे हरिदास, मध्य नाचे आचार्य गोसाई परम उल्लास. Achintya Dev Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to the assembled devotees.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhuji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Translation. In the front party danced Thakur Haridas, and in the middle party danced Advaita Acharya with great jubilation. Thank you.
Thank you. So there were 3. So in the front was Haridas Thakur, and in the middle was Advaita Acharya. So they were the lead dancers in the Kirtan party. Advaita Acharya, first Haridas Thakur, then Advaita Acharya. पाछे संप्रदाय नृत्य कोरे गौरचंद्र, तार संगे नाची भूले प्रभु नित्यानंद. Arunita.
Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Lord Gaurachandra himself danced in the rear party, and Sri Nityananda Prabhu moves with Lord Chaitanya's dancing.
So the third party was Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself and Nityananda Prabhu. So when Mahaprabhu was actually arranging the Kirtan parties, assigning who will be in which party, when he looked at Nityananda Prabhu said, don't send me anywhere away from you. I will be wherever you are. So then Mahaprabhu said, okay, you be in my party. So Nityananda Prabhu stayed with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So first was Haridas Thakur, then Advaita Acharya, lead dancers. And then the third party, the lead dancer is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu along with Nityananda Prabhu. Vrindavana dasa iha Chaitanya mangale, vistari varniya chena Prabhu kripa bole.
Hare Krishna Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Mataji. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
By the grace of the Lord, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur has elaborately described this incident in his Chaitanya Mangal, now Chaitanya Bhagavatam.
Yes, so we read that elaborately, the Nagar Sankirtan pastime of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in Chaitanya Bhagavatam. এই মতা কীর্তন করি নগরে ভ্রমিলা, ভ্রমিতে ভ্রমিতে সবে কাজী দ্বারে গেলা.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Dandavat Pranam Prabhuji, all glories to Srila Prabhupada.
Translation. Performing Kirtana in this way, circumambulating through every nook and corner of the city, they finally reached the door of the Kachi.
Yes, So one more point earlier, what we read yesterday was the Lord said, I will go in every town. That means Navadvip. There are 9 cities or 9 islands. So I will go. So decorate all the cities. So here also it is said, Mahaprabhu performed kirtan with all these kirtan parties and so many torches, millions of them, and circumambulating through every nook and corner of the city, they finally reached the door of the Qazi. So they went, so they were following the course on the, going alongside of the Ganges, so going to different cities or every part of the city, and finally they arrived at Chand Qazi's house, at the door of his house. Tarja garja kore loka kore kolahala, Gaura Chandra bole loka prashraya pagala. Isha.
Murmuring in anger and making a roaring sound, the people under the protection of Lord Chaitanya became mad through such indulgence.
Yes. So now Mahaprabhu said, what will this Qazi do? Right? I am here to protect you. He had said that. And let's go. We'll do Kirtan. We'll go in Nagar Sankirtan. So, and now seeing the Lord performing Kirtan, and they also got all worked up in ecstasy. So they were all, we read how each one had actually 4 arms. They didn't even realize that. So they were not on material platform anymore. They were in ecstasy. So now in that ecstasy, they were showing their anger, right? Transcendental anger, murmuring in anger and making a roaring sound. The people under the protection of Lord Chaitanya became mad through such indulgence. What type of indulgence? In anger, right? So they were just like uncontrollably, they were behaving almost like madmen, roaring and, showing anger and, saying that, pretending that, they were beating the Qazi like that. They were doing all kinds of things. Okay, purport, Krishna Shish.
The Qazi had issued an order not to perform kirtan, congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord. But when this was brought up to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he ordered civil disobedience to the Qazi's order. Lord Chaitanya and all his devotees, naturally enthusiastic, although agitated, must have made a great noise with their loud cries.
Yes. So they were naturally enthusiastic, although agitated. They were enthusiastic because they were on the transcendental platform, right? And they were agitated also. They were agitated. That is also because of their ecstasy. And because of that, they made such a great noise with their loud cries. So, what kind of effect did that have on the Qazi? Kirtanera dvanite kaji lukaila ghare, tarjana garjana shuni na hoye bahire. Madhava.
The loud sound of the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra certainly made the Qazi very much afraid, and he hid himself in his room. Hearing the people just protesting, murmuring in great anger, the Qazi would not come out of his home.
Earlier, when he heard Kirtan, he was angry and he went and broke the Mridanga. Now there's so many people and everyone was roaring. And also we saw how they were even like, destroying his garden, and they were loudly chanting, kill the Qazi, kill the Qazi. So many people with torches. He got scared. He was very much afraid. So afraid that he hid himself inside his room and wouldn't even come outside the house. When he heard the people protesting and murmuring in great anger, he would not come out of his house. He just was trembling in fear inside his house. Purport. Asapriya, read the first paragraph.
The Qazi's order not to perform Sankirtan could stand only as long as there was no civil disobedience. Under the leadership of the Supreme Lord, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the chanters, increasing in number, disobeyed the order of the Qazi. Thousands assembled together and formed parties, chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and making a tumultuous sound of protest. Thus the Qazi was very much afraid, as naturally one should be under such circumstances.
Isn't it natural, as one should be under such circumstances? You would be afraid. He had ordered not to perform Sankirtan. And how did Mahaprabhu respond? By his civil disobedience. We are not going to obey your order. We will chant. That was the message through this Nagar Sankirtan. He said, you cannot chant. And they came in such large numbers under the leadership of Nimai Pandit himself, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And they were chanting loudly. This is disobedience, civil disobedience, under the leadership of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the numbers increased. They just kept adding on, so many. And they were all disobeying the order of the Qazi. And so many of them were chanting in front of his house and also protesting. So he was afraid, as he should be. Next. Nilambari Mataji, will you read the next paragraph?
Hare Krishna Mataji, Pranam, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Dandat Pranam Mataji, Jai Srila Prabhupada.
In the present day, also, people all over the world may join together in the Krishna consciousness movement and protest against the present disregard.
Degraded.
Present degraded governments of the world's godless societies, which are based on all kinds of sinful activities. Srimad Bhagavatam states that in the age of Kali, thieves, rogues, and fourth-class people who have neither education nor culture capture the seats of governments and government to exploit the citizens. This is a symptom of Kali Yuga that has already appeared. People cannot feel secure about their lives and property, yet the so-called government continue, and government ministers get fat salaries, although they are unable to do anything good for society. The only remedy for such condition is to enhance the Sankirtan movement under the banner of Krishna consciousness and protest against the sinful activities of all the world's governments.
Yes.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you. Hare Krishna Mataji. So Srila Prabhupada is saying even in the present day, and things have, well, even then they were pretty bad actually. So this is an ongoing thing, right? And Srila Prabhupada is saying the age of Kali has already started. So we are already seeing the symptoms of the age of Kali. People all over the world can, because this is the age of Kali, the leaders are thieves, rogues, and fourth-class people with no education. Again, what is education? Education means you should know what is real knowledge, not some concoction or some imagination, some, which is taught in schools and then we call ourselves education. No. Education means you should know what is real knowledge. That has to come from the scriptures only. So in that sense, nobody is educated. Even if they have big degrees, actually they are not educated because they don't even know the truth about life, what happens after death, and what to speak of who is God. No real knowledge. And such people are the leaders. And nor do they have any culture, right? Jatomat tatovad. Everyone creates their own path. And they just, what do you say, reject. They reject any rules. They just reject the scripture outright. You do whatever you feel like doing. And such people become the leaders of the society. They capture the seats of government. And what will they do? Because they don't have culture, they don't have education, they will exploit the citizens. And this is a symptom of Kali Yuga. This is not about one person or one country. This is the symptom of this time, Kali Yuga. Then how can we deal with this situation? So in this situation, nobody is feeling secure about their lives or about their property. There's cheating every day. How you can be peaceful under such circumstances? So then the only remedy for such conditions is to join together with this Krishna consciousness movement in Sankirtan and protest against the sinful activities of all the world's governments. So the way we protest is by doing Sankirtan. We come together and we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. That's what Srila Prabhupada is saying. That's the only solution to all problems. Next paragraph, Priyanka Mataji. Are you able to read, Mataji? Priyanka Mataji.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Sorry, Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Please
The
accept
Krishna
my
consciousness.
this is Mataji. Jai Shri Prabhupada.
Please accept my humble obeisances. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
The Krishna consciousness movement is not a sentimental religious movement. It is a movement for the reformation of all the anomalies of human society. If people take to it seriously, discharging this duty scientifically, as ordered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the world will see peace and prosperity instead of being confused and hopeless under useless governments. There are always rogues and thieves in human society. And as soon as a weak government is unable to execute its duties, these rogues and thieves come out to do their business. Thus, the entire society becomes a hell unfit for gentlemen to live in. There is an immediate need for a good government, a government by the people with Krishna consciousness. Unless the masses of the people become Krishna conscious, they cannot be good men. The Krishna consciousness movement that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra still has its potency. Therefore, people should understand it seriously and scientifically and spread it all over the world.
Yes, so it is not separate. Sometimes we are under this understanding or under this illusion, thinking that our spiritual life is separate and our material life is separate. And I'm talking even collectively. Yes, we think that we go to the temple on Sundays and we chant, and this is our spiritual life. And materially, we have our jobs, we have our businesses, and we have our social life outside. That is different. I have to do that and this. But the problem is our material life and social life is controlled by demons. Why demons? Because, as Srila Prabhupada said in the purport, they don't have education, they don't have culture, but they have power and they are ruling the devotees. Again and again, I hear in Srimad Bhagavatam classes, the question comes up, we are helpless, right? Like the different rules, that are instructions that are given in the scripture. For example, now we are reading in Srimad Bhagavatam morning class, second canto, first chapter, about how one spends his time sleeping and in sex at night, right? Sleeping is bad, you shouldn't sleep so much, and how you should spend more and more time, and you shouldn't spend so much time in earning. During the day, a Grihamedi spends time in earning money and maintaining family, and at night he's sleeping or having sex. This is all he's doing. But then the question comes up, but we have to work, otherwise how we'll pay our bills? And we have to work in these hours, and then we have to drive so long to work. So the thing is, even if we wanted to practice, because our material life is controlled by those people, by a government which is not Krishna conscious, it becomes very difficult. So therefore Srila Prabhupada is saying, let's look at the purport again. Srila Prabhupada is saying, there is an immediate need for a good government. It's not that let this government go on. No. Everything is God's property. Ishavasyam idam sarvam. The whole world, the whole universe, all the planets, everything, right? Bhoktaram yagya tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram. He is the Lord of all the planets and their demigods, and even this earthly planet and all the countries and all the land. He is the actual proprietor. But now, in the absence of a good government, that means at one time we had a good government under a Rajarshi like Parikshit Maharaj or Yudhishthir Maharaj. and before them also. But with the beginning of Kali Yuga, we lost a good government. Then what happens? There are always rogues and thieves in human society. As soon as a weak government is unable to execute its duties, so when a good leader is gone, then the government becomes weak. That means you don't have a proper leader. So when the government becomes weak, these rogues and thieves come out to do their business. So if you look at history also, you will see how we finally ended up with democracy. Right? So those actually Kshatriyas means they're trained. First of all, they take birth in such royal line. Their very birth is after samskaras, you get good Kshatriyas. And after that, they are given proper training. And that includes not just military training, also culture and Krishna consciousness, because they have to lead the whole society. When such a Kshatriya is absent, weak kings come who don't have that power, then the rogues and thieves in the form of their ministers or some servants, they, poison the king, kill, and then they take over the throne. And now they say, we are the kings. You look at history and present also. Now the so-called leader is actually worse than a Shudra. But he is going around as a Kshatriya. What do you expect from such a person? So what happens when there is a weak government? The rogues and thieves come out and they do their business. They do their business. Thus, the entire society becomes a hell, unfit for gentlemen to live in. So can we just say, what can we do about it and just go? No. Then the more we, like the other day, Prabhuji was saying, Narsimha Prahladeshwar Prabhu was saying, talking about a situation in Calcutta, how the educated class, they don't want to do anything with it. They just behave, act like they don't see anything, they don't care about it. So if we act like that, we don't care about whatever they're doing, then things will only become worse. This movement is not just for a handful of people. This is for all the masses, for all the people. The Varnashram system brings everyone, and according to their natures, everyone can be engaged. So this is actually essential for the progress of Krishna consciousness. Having a government, what is Srila Prabhupada is saying? A government by the people with Krishna consciousness. This is the immediate need. You need a government where the leader is a Krishna conscious person. That's what we need. Then he can actually guide all the citizens. The people in general are actually innocent. The people are innocent. They can be guided properly. If they have a good leader, a Krishna conscious leader, they can take to it. Unless the masses of people become Krishna conscious, they cannot be good men. The Krishna consciousness movement that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started by chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra still has its potency. That means this Krishna consciousness movement is not simply meant for us to, practice our chanting at home. No, it is meant to guide the whole society. It's not just one of the different religious groups. This is meant to guide the whole society. On what basis? On the instruction of the Supreme Lord. He has given, the guidelines are there, how the society should be led. He himself has come as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, we should at least understand that this Krishna consciousness movement is not some sentimental religious movement. It is a movement for the reformation of all the anomalies of society. Whatever problems we have in the society today, there is a solution for all the problems through Krishna consciousness. Okay, next paragraph. It's already 7:30. So I'll just read the last paragraph. The Sankirtan movement started by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is described in the Chaitanya Bhagavatam, Madhya Khanda, 23rd chapter, beginning with verse 241, which states, "My dear Lord, let my mind be fixed at your lotus feet." Following Lord Chaitanya's chanting, all the devotees reproduced the same sound he chanted. In this way, the Lord proceeded, leading the entire party on the strand roads by the bank of the Ganges. When the Lord came to his own ghat or bathing place, he danced more and more. Then he proceeded to Madhai's ghat. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Supreme Lord, who was known as Vishwambhar, danced all over the banks of the Ganges. Then he proceeded to Barakona Ghat, then Nagariya Ghat, and traveling through Ganganagar, reached Simulia, a quarter at one end of the town. All these places surround Sri Mayapur. After reaching Simulia, the Lord proceeded toward the Qazi's house, and in this way he reached the door of Chand Qazi. So the first three paragraphs, Srila Prabhupada is talking about the situation today and how Sankirtan movement is the solution to all the problems, and how this Krishna consciousness movement is very important. It's the only way, actually. It's the only solution to all problems. So we will stop Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita reading here. As I said in the beginning of today's session, we will be reading, reciting Bhagavad Gita chapter 15 and Bhagavatam 10:14 for the Purushottamas. So you can, all of you, stay in mute. If you would like, you can turn on your cameras, but stay in mute and but recite along with me. So everyone recites, and we will do it every day. And then after that, I'll just read the English translation. Bhagavad Gita, chapter 15, the Yoga of the Supreme Person. Sri Bhagavanuvacha Urdhvamulam Adha Shakam Ashwattham Prahuravyayam Chandamsi Yasya Parnani Yastam Veda Sa Vedavid. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "It is said that there is an imperishable banyan tree that has its roots upward and its branches down, and whose leaves are the Vedic hymns. One who knows this tree is the knower of the Vedas. अधश्चोर्ध्वं प्रसृतास्तस्य शाखा गुणप्रवृद्धा विषयप्रवालाः अधश्च मूलान्यनुसन्ततानि कर्मानुबन्धीनि मनुष्यलोके. The branches of this tree extend downward and upward, nourished by the three modes of material nature. The twigs are the objects of the senses. This tree also has roots going down, and these are bound to the fruitive actions of human society. न रूपमस्येह तथोपलभ्यते नान्तो न चादिर्न च सम्प्रतिष्ठा अश्वत्थमेनं सुविरूढमूलम् असङ्गशस्त्रेण दृढेन छित्त्वा ततः पदं तत्परिमार्गितव्यं यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयः तम एव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यतः प्रवृत्तिः प्रसृता पुराणी. The real form of this tree cannot be perceived in this world. No one can understand where it ends, where it begins, or where its foundation is. But with determination, one must cut down this strongly rooted tree with the weapon of detachment. Thereafter, one must seek that place from which, having gone, one never returns, and there surrender to that Supreme Personality of Godhead, from whom everything began and from whom everything has extended since time immemorial. निर्मानमोहाजितसङ्गदोषा अध्यात्मनित्या विनिवृत्तकामाः द्वन्द्वैर्विमुक्ता सुखदुःखसंज्ञैर्गच्छन्त्यमूढा पदमव्ययं तत्. Those who are free from false prestige, illusion, and false association, who understand the eternal, who are done with material lust, who are freed from the dualities of happiness and distress, and who, unbewildered, know how to surrender unto the Supreme Person, attain to that eternal kingdom. न तद्भासयते सूर्यो न शशाङ्को न पावकः Yadgatva na nivartante tadhama paramam mama. That supreme abode of mine is not illumined by the sun or moon, nor by fire or electricity. Those who reach it never return to this material world. ममैवांशो जीवलोके जीवभूतः सनातनः मनः षष्ठानीन्द्रियाणि प्रकृतिस्थानि कर्षति. The living entities in this conditioned world are my eternal fragmental parts. Due to conditioned life, they are struggling very hard with the six senses, which include the mind. Shariram yad avapnoti yacchapyutkramatishvaraha गृहीत्वैतानि संयाति vayurgandhani vashayat. The living entity in the material world carries his different conceptions of life from one body to another, as the air carries aromas. Thus, he takes one kind of body and again quits it to take another. श्रोत्रं चक्षुः स्पर्शनं च रसनं घ्राणम् एव च अधिष्ठाय मनश्चायं विषयान् उपसेवते. The living entity, thus taking another gross body, obtains a certain type of ear, eye, tongue, nose, and sense of touch, which are grouped about the mind. He thus enjoys a particular set of sense objects. उत्क्रामन्तं स्थितं वापि भुञ्जानं वा गुणान्वितं विमूढानानुपश्यन्ति पश्यन्ति ज्ञानचक्षुषः. The foolish cannot understand how a living entity can quit his body, nor can they understand what sort of body he enjoys under the spell of the modes of nature. But one whose eyes are trained in knowledge can see all this. यतन्तो योगिनश्चैनं पश्यन्त्यात्मन्यवस्थितं यतन्तोऽप्यकृतात्मानो नैनं पश्यन्त्यचेतसः. The endeavoring transcendentalists who are situated in self-realization can see all this clearly, but those whose minds are not developed and who are not situated in self-realization cannot see what is taking place, though they may try. यद् आदित्यगतं तेजो जगद्भासयतेऽखिलं यच्चन्द्रमसि यच्चाग्नौ तत्तेजो विद्धि मामकम्. The splendor of the sun, which dissipates the darkness of this whole world, comes from me, and the splendor of the moon and the splendor of fire are also from me. Kam आविश्य च भूतानि धारयाम्यहमोजसा पुष्णामि चौषधी सर्वाः सोमो भूत्वा रसात्मकः. I enter into each planet, and by my energy they stay in orbit. I become the moon and thereby supply the juice of life to all vegetables. Aham Vaishvanaro Bhutva Praninam Dehamashritah Pranapana Samayuktaha Pachamyannam Chaturvidham. I am the fire of digestion in the bodies of all living entities, and I join with the air of life, outgoing and incoming, to digest the four kinds of foodstuff. सर्वस्य चाहं हृदि सन्निविष्टो मत्तः स्मृतिर्ज्ञानमपोहनं च वेदैश्च सर्वैरहमेव वेद्यो वेदान्तकृद् वेदविद् एव चाहम्. I am seated in everyone's heart, and from me come remembrance, knowledge, and forgetfulness. By all the Vedas, I am to be known. Indeed, I am the compiler of Vedanta, and I am the knower of the Vedas. द्वाविमौ पुरुषौ लोके क्षरश्चाक्षर एव च क्षरः सर्वाणि भूतानि कूटस्थोऽक्षर उच्यते. There are two classes of beings, the fallible and the infallible. In the material world, every living entity is fallible, and in the spiritual world, every living entity is called infallible. Uttamah purushastvanyah paramatmetyudahritah yo lokatrayamavishya vibhartyavyaya ishvaraha. Besides these two, there is the greatest living personality, the Supreme Soul, the imperishable Lord Himself, who has entered the three worlds and is maintaining them. Yasmad ksharam atitoham aksharad api chottamaha atosmi loke vedecha pratitaha purushottamaha. Because I am transcendental, beyond both the fallible and the infallible, and because I am the greatest, I am celebrated both in the world and in the Vedas as that Supreme Person. Yo mam evam asammudho janati purushottamam sasarvavid bhajati mam sarva bhavena bharata. Whoever knows me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead without doubting is the knower of everything. He therefore engages himself in full devotional service to me, O son of Bharata. Iti guhyatamam shastram idam uktam maya nagha etad buddhva buddhiman syatyascha bharata. This is the most confidential part of the Vedic scriptures, O sinless one, and it is disclosed now by me. Whoever understands this will become wise and his endeavors will know perfection. Now we will read from Srimad Bhagavatam Brahmastuti. Okay, this is Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 10, Chapter 14. Brahma's prayers to Lord Krishna. Text 1. Sri Brahmo Vacha Naumidhyate Bhravapushe Tadidambaraya Gunjavatam Sa Pratipichavalasanmukhaya Vanyasraje Kavalavetra Vishana Venu Lakshmashriye Mridupade Pashupangajaya. Lord Brahma said, My dear Lord, you are the only worshipable Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and therefore I offer my humble obeisances and prayers just to please you. O son of the king of the cowherds, your transcendental body is dark blue like a new cloud. Your garment is brilliant like lightning, and the beauty of your face is enhanced by your gunja earrings and the peacock feather on your head. Wearing garlands of various forest flowers and leaves, and equipped with a herding stick, a buffalo horn, and a flute, you stand beautifully with a morsel of food in your hand. Asyapi deva vapusho madanugrahasya sweच्छामयस्य natu bhutamayasya kopi neshe mahitva vasitum manasantarena sakshat tavaiva kimutatma sukhanubhute. My dear Lord, neither I nor anyone else can estimate the potency of this transcendental body of yours, which has shown such mercy to me, and which appears just to fulfill the desires of your pure devotees. Although my mind is completely withdrawn from material affairs, I cannot understand your personal form. How then could I possibly understand the happiness you experience within yourself? ज्ञाने प्रयासमुदपास्य नमन्त एव जीवन्ति सन्मुखरितां भवदीयवार्तां स्थाने स्थिताः श्रुतिगतां तनुवान् मनोभिर्ये प्रायशो जितजितोऽप्यसितैस्त्रिलोक्याम्. Those who, even while remaining situated in their established social positions, throw away the process of speculative knowledge, and with their body, words, and mind offer all respects to descriptions of your personality and activities, dedicating their lives to these narrations, which are vibrated by you personally and by your pure devotees, certainly conquer your lordship, although you are otherwise unconquerable by anyone within the three worlds. Sorry. Text 4. श्रेयस्ऋतिं भक्तिमुदस्य ते विभो क्लिश्यन्ति ये केवलबोधलब्धये तेषामसौ क्लेशल एव शिष्यते नान्यद्यथा स्थूलतुषावघातिनाम्. My dear Lord, devotional service unto you is the best path for self-realization. If someone gives up that path and engages in the cultivation of speculative knowledge, he will simply undergo a troublesome process and will not achieve his desired result. As a person who beats an empty husk of wheat cannot get grain, one who simply speculates cannot achieve self realization. His only gain is trouble. पुरेह भूमन् बहवोऽपि योगिनस्त्वदर्पितेह निजकर्मलब्धया विबुध्य भक्त्यैव कथोपनीतया प्रपेदिरेञ्जोच्युत ते गतिं पराम्. O Almighty Lord, in the past many yogis in this world achieved the platform of devotional service by offering all their endeavors unto you and faithfully carrying out their prescribed duties. Through such devotional service, perfected by the processes of hearing and chanting about you, they came to understand you, O Infallible One, and could easily surrender to you and achieve your supreme abode. Yeah, you can say. तथापि भूमन् महिमा गुणस्य ते विबोद्धुमर्हत्यमलान्तरात्मभिः अविक्रियात् स्वानुभवादरूपतो यनन्यबोध्यात्मतया न चान्यथा. Non-devotees, however, cannot realize you in your full personal feature. Nevertheless, it may be possible for them to realize your expansion as the impersonal Supreme by cultivating direct perception of the Self within the heart. But they can do so only by purifying their mind and senses of all conceptions of material distinctions and all attachment to material sense objects. Only in this way will your impersonal feature manifest itself to them. गुणात्मनस्तेऽपि गुणान् विमातुं हितावतीर्णस्य क ईशिरेस्य कालेन यैर्वा विमितासु कल्पैर्भूपांशवः खेमिहिकाद्युभासः. In time, learned philosophers or scientists might be able to count all the atoms of the earth, the particles of snow, or perhaps even the shining molecules radiating from the sun, the stars, and other luminaries. But among these learned men, who could possibly count the unlimited transcendental qualities possessed by you, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who have descended onto the surface of the earth for the benefit of all living entities? तत्तेऽनुकम्पां सुसमीक्षमाणो भुञ्जान एवात्मकृतं विपाकम् हृद्वाग्वपुर्भिर्विदधन्नमस्ते जीवेत यो मुक्तिपदे सदायभाक्. My dear Lord, one who earnestly waits for you to bestow your causeless mercy upon him, all the while patiently suffering the reactions of his past misdeeds and offering you respectful obeisances with his heart, words, and body, is surely eligible for liberation, for it has become his rightful claim. पश्येष मे नार्यमनन्त आद्ये परात्मनि त्वय्यपि मायि मायिने मायां वितत्येक्षितुमात्मवैभवं ह्यहं कियानैच्छमिवार्चिरग्नौ. My Lord, just see my uncivilized impudence. To test your power, I tried to extend my illusory potency to cover you, the unlimited and primeval supersoul, who bewilder even the masters of illusion. What am I compared to you? I am just like a small spark in the presence of a great fire. अतः क्षमस्वाच्युत मे रजो भुवो यजानतस्त्वत्पृथगीशमानिनः अजावलेपान्धतमोऽन्धचक्षुषा एषोऽनुकम्प्यो मयि नाथवानिति. Therefore, O infallible Lord, kindly excuse my offenses. I have taken birth in the mode of passion and am therefore simply foolish, presuming myself a controller independent of your lordship. My eyes are blinded by the darkness of ignorance, which causes me to think of myself as the unborn creator of the universe. But please consider that I am your servant and therefore worthy of your compassion. Kwaham tamo mahadaham khacharagnivarbhu samveshtitanda ghata sapta vitastikayah Kvedrigvidha viganitanda paranucharya Vatadvaroma vivarasya chate mahitvam. What am I? A small creature measuring 7 spans of my own hand. I am enclosed in a pot-like universe composed of material nature, the total material energy, false ego, ether, air, water, and earth. And what is your glory? Unlimited universes pass through the pores of your body just as particles of dust pass through the openings of a screened window. उत्क्षेपणं गर्भगतस्य पादयोः किं कल्पते मातुरधोक्षजागसे किम् अस्ति नास्ति व्यपदेशभूषितं तवास्ति कुक्षेः कियदप्यनन्तः. O Lord Adhokshaja, just does a mother take offense when the child within her womb kicks with his legs? And is there anything in existence, whether designated by various philosophers as real or as unreal, that is actually outside your abdomen? That means everything is within your abdomen. Jagattrayanto dadhi samplabode नारायणस्योदरनाभिनालात् विनिर्गतो जस्त्वितिवान्न वैमृषा किन्त्वीश्वरत्वं न विनिर्गतोऽस्मि. My dear Lord, it is said that when the 3 planetary systems are merged into the water at the time of dissolution, your plenary portion, Narayan, lies down on the water. Gradually, a lotus flower grows from your navel, and Brahma takes birth upon that lotus flower. Certainly, these words are not false. Thus, am I not born from you? Right? You're my mother, and mother forgives, doesn't take offense of the child. I'm born from you, so you're my mother. Narayanastvam nahi sarvadehinam आत्मास्यधीशाखिललोकसाक्षी नारायणोऽङ्गं नरभूजलायनात् तच्चापि सत्यं न तवैव माया. Are you not the original Narayan, O Supreme Controller, since you are the soul of every embodied being and the eternal witness of all created realms? Indeed, Lord Narayan is your expansion, and he is called Narayan because he is the generating source of the primeval water of the universe. He is real, not a product of your illusory Maya. तच्चेज्जलस्तं तव सज्जगद्वपुः किं मे न दृष्टं भगवंस्तदैव किं मे न दृष्टं भगवंस्तदैव किं वा सुदृष्टं हृदि मे तदैव किं नो सपद्येव पुनर्व्यदर्शि. My dear Lord, if your transcendental body, which shelters the entire universe, is actually lying upon the water, then why were you not seen by me when I searched for you? I'll read that again. My dear Lord, if your transcendental body, which shelters the entire universe, is actually lying upon the water, then why were you not seen by me when I searched for you? And why, though I could not envision you properly within my heart, did you then suddenly reveal yourself? अत्रैव माया धमनावतारे यस्य प्रपञ्चस्य बहिस्फुटस्य कृत्स्नस्य चान्तर्जठरे जनन्या माया त्वमेव प्रकटीकृतं ते. My dear Lord, in this incarnation, you have proved that you are the supreme controller of Maya. Although you are now within this universe, the whole universal creation is within your transcendental body, a fact you demonstrated by exhibiting the universe within your abdomen before your mother Yashoda. यस्य कुक्षाविदं सर्वं सात्मं भाति यथा तथा तत्त्वय्यपीह तत्सर्वं किम idam मायया विना. Just as this entire universe, including you, was exhibited within your abdomen, so it is now manifested here externally in the same exact form. How could such things happen unless arranged by your inconceivable energy? अद्यैव त्वदृतेस्य किं मम न ते माया त्वमादर्शितम् एकोऽसि प्रथमं ततो व्रज सुहृद्वत्सा समस्ता अपि तावन्तोऽसि तदखिलैः साकं मयोपासितास्तावन्त्येव जगन्त्यभूस्तदमितं ब्रह्माद्वयं शिष्यते. This is Janmadya Sheyatonoyad meter. Have you not shown me today that both you yourself and everything within this creation are manifestations of your inconceivable potency? First you appeared alone, and then you manifested yourself as all of Vrindavan's calves and cowherd boys, your friends. Next you appeared as an equal number of four-handed Vishnu forms who were worshipped by all living beings, including me. And after that, you appeared as an equal number of complete universes. Finally, you have now returned to your unlimited form as the supreme absolute truth, one without a second. Ajnanatam tvat padavimanaatmani atmatmana bhasi vitatya mayam srishta vivaham jagato vidhana ivatvameshonta ivatrinetraha. To persons ignorant of your actual transcendental position, you appear as part of the material world, manifesting yourself by the expansion of your inconceivable energy. Thus, for the creation of the universe, you appear as me, Brahma. For its maintenance, you appear as yourself, Vishnu. And for its annihilation, you appear as Lord Trinetra, Shiva. सुरेश्वरिशीश्वीश तथैव नृष्वपि तिर्यक्षुयादश्वपि ते जनस्य जन्मासतां दुर्मदनिग्रहाय प्रभो विधातः सदनुग्रहाय च. O Lord, O Supreme Creator and Master, you have no material birth. Yet, to defeat the false pride of the faithless demons and show mercy to your saintly devotees, you take birth among the demigods, sages, human beings, animals, and even the aquatics. Ko vetti bhuman bhagavan paratman yogeshwarotir bhavatastrilokyam kva katham va kati va kadeti vistarayan kridasi yogamayam. O Supreme Great One, O Supreme Personality of Godhead, O Super Soul, Master of all mystic power, your pastimes are taking place continuously in these three worlds. But who can estimate where, how, and when you are employing your spiritual energy and performing these innumerable pastimes? No one can understand the mystery of how your spiritual energy acts. तस्मादिदं जगदशेषमसत्स्वरूपं स्वप्नाभमस्तधिषणं पुरु दुःखदुःखं त्वय्येव नित्यसुखबोधतनावनन्ते मायात उद्यदपि यत्सदिवावभाति. Therefore, this entire universe, which like a dream is by nature unreal, nevertheless appears real, and thus it covers one's consciousness and assails one with repeated miseries. This universe appears real because it is manifested by the potency of illusion emanating from you, whose unlimited transcendental forms are full of eternal happiness and knowledge. एकस्त्वमात्मा पुरुषः पुराणः सत्यस्वयं ज्योतिरनन्त आद्यः नित्योऽक्षरोऽजस्रसुखो निरञ्जनः पूर्णाद्वयो मुक्त उपाधितो मृतः. You are the one supreme soul, the primeval supreme personality, the absolute truth, self-manifested, endless and beginningless. You are eternal and infallible, perfect and complete, without any rival and free from all material designations. Your happiness can never be obstructed, nor have you any connection with material contamination. Indeed, you are the indestructible nectar of immortality. एवं विधं त्वां सकलात्मनामपि स्वात्मानमात्मात्मतया विचक्षते गुर्वर्कलब्धोपनिषत्सु चक्षुषा ये ते तरन्तीव भवानृताम्बुधिम्. Those who have received the clear vision of knowledge from the sun-like spiritual master can see you in this way as the very soul of all souls, the super soul of everyone's own self. Thus, understanding your original personality, they are able to cross over the ocean of illusory material existence. आत्मानमेवात्मतया विजानतां तेनैव जातं निखिलं प्रपञ्चितं ज्ञानेन भूयोऽपि च तत्प्रलीयते रज्ज्वामहेर्भोगभवाभवौ यथा. A person who mistakes a rope for a snake becomes fearful, but he then gives up his fear upon realizing that the so-called snake does not exist. Similarly, for those who fail to recognize you as the supreme soul of all souls, the expansive illusory material existence arises, but knowledge of you at once causes it to subside. Okay, next, 26. अज्ञानसंज्ञौ भवबन्धमोक्षौ द्वौ नाम नान्यौ स्तरितज्ञभावात् अजस्रचित्यात्मनि केवले परे विचार्यमाणे तरणाविवाहनि. The conception of material bondage and the conception of liberation are both manifestations of ignorance. Being outside the scope of true knowledge, they cease to exist when one correctly understands that the pure spirit soul is distinct from matter and always fully conscious. At that time, bondage and liberation no longer have any significance, just as day and night have no significance from the perspective of the sun. त्वाम् आत्मानं परं मत्वा परम् आत्मानमेव च आत्मा पुनर्बहिर्मृग्य अहोग्य जनताज्ञता. Just see the foolishness of those ignorant persons who consider you to be some separated manifestation of illusion and who consider the self, which is actually you, to be something else, the material body. Such fools conclude that the Supreme Soul is to be searched for somewhere outside your Supreme Personality. अन्तर्भवेनन्तभवन्तमेव ह्यतत्यजन्तो मृगयन्ति सन्तः असन्तमप्यन्त्यहिमन्तरेण सन्तं गुणं तं किमु यन्ति सन्तः. O unlimited Lord, the saintly devotees seek you out within their own bodies by rejecting everything separate from you. Indeed, how can discriminating persons appreciate the real nature of a rope lying before them until they refute the illusion that it is a snake? अथापि देवपदाम्बुजद्वया प्रसादलेशानुगृहीत एव हि जानाति तत्त्वं भगवन्महिम्नो न चान्य एकोऽपि चिरं विचिन्वन्. My Lord, if one is favored by even a slight trace of the mercy of your lotus feet, he can understand the greatness of your personality. But those who speculate to understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead are unable to know you, even though they continue to study the Vedas for many years. तदस्तु मे नाथ स भूरिभागो भवेत्र वान्यत्र तु वातिरश्चाम् येनाहमेकोऽपि भवज्जनानां भूत्वा निषेवे तव पादपल्लवम्. My dear Lord, I therefore pray to be so fortunate that in this life as Lord Brahma or in another life, wherever I take my birth, I may be counted as one of your devotees. I pray that wherever I may be, even among the animal species, I can engage in devotional service to your lotus feet. अहोति धन्या व्रजगोरमण्यः स्तन्यामृतं पीतमतीव ते मुदा यासां विभो वत्सतरात्मजात्मना यत्तृप्तयेद्यापि न चालमध्वराः. O Almighty Lord, how greatly fortunate are the cows and ladies of Vrindavan, the nectar of whose breast milk you have happily drunk to your full satisfaction, taking the form of their calves and children. All the Vedic sacrifices performed from time immemorial up to the present day have not given you as much satisfaction. अहो भाग्यम नंद गोपाव्रजौकसाम यन्मित्रं परमानंदम पूर्णं ब्रह्म सनातनम. How greatly fortunate are Nanda Maharaj, the cowherd men, and all the other inhabitants of Rajabhumi. There is no limit to their good fortune because the absolute truth, the source of transcendental bliss, the eternal supreme Brahman, has become their friend. एषं तु भाग्यमहिमाच्युततावदास्ताम् एकादशैव हि वयं बत भूरिभागाः एतदृशीकचषकैरसकृत् पिबामः सर्वादयोऽङ्घ्रियुतजमध्वमृतासवं ते. Yet, even though the extent of the good fortune of these residents of Vrindavan is inconceivable, we 11 presiding deities of the various senses, headed by Lord Shiva, are also most fortunate because the senses of these devotees of Vrindavan are the cups through which we repeatedly drink the nectarian, intoxicating beverage of the honey of your lotus feet. So there are demigods who are in charge of the various senses, right? So Adhishtana Devata. That means they stay like there is one particular demigod like the sun, right? One particular demigod who is the controller of the of seeing. So they are always sitting in that particular sense. So like that, Lord Brahma is saying we are also fortunate like the Brajbasis. Why? Because through the senses of the Brajbasis, we are sitting there in their senses, we are able to drink the nectarian, intoxicating beverage of the honey of your lotus feet. Tadbhuri bhagyamiha janma kimapyatavyam yadgokulepi katamangri rajobhishekam yajjivitam tu nikilam bhagavan mukundas tvadyāpi yatpadarajah shrutimrigyameva. My greatest possible good fortune would be to take any birth, whatever, in this forest of Gokula. I'll read that again. My greatest possible good fortune would be to take any birth, whatever, in this forest of Gokula and have my head bathed by the dust falling from the lotus feet of any of its residents. Their entire life and soul is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Mukunda, the dust of whose lotus feet is still being searched for in the Vedic mantras. येषां घोषनिवासिनामुत भवान् किं देवरातेति नश् चेतो विश्वफलात् फलं त्वदपरं कुत्राप्ययन्मुह्यति सद्वेषादिव पूतनापि सकुला त्वामेव देवा पिता यद्धर्मार्थसुहृत्प्रियात्मतनया प्राणाशयास्त्वत्कृते. My mind becomes bewildered just trying to think of what reward other than you could be found anywhere. You are the embodiment of all benedictions which you bestow upon these residents of the cowherd community of Vrindavan. You have already arranged to give yourself to Putana and her family members in exchange for her disguising herself as a devotee. So, what is left for you to give these devotees of Vrindavan, whose homes, wealth, friends, dear relations, bodies, children, and very lives and hearts are all dedicated only to you. That means Putana, she pretended, she disguised herself as a devotee. And in exchange for acting like a devotee, what did you do? You have arranged to give yourself to Putana for simply acting. What to speak of these devotees who gave their everything to you, their homes, wealth, friends, relations, bodies, children, their very lives and hearts. Everything is dedicated. Can anyone even imagine? Is there anything, even do you have anything to reward them for that? Right? Like that. So, what is left for you to give these devotees of Vrindavan? You've already given yourself to Putana. What is left for you to give these devotees of Vrindavan? तावद्रागादयस्तेनास् तावत् कारागृहं गृहं तावन्मोहोऽङ्घ्रिनिगडो यावत् कृष्णन ते जनाः. My dear Lord Krishna, until people become your devotees, their material attachments and desires remain thieves, their homes remain prisons, and their affectionate feelings for their family members remain foot shackles. So, until they become your devotees, but when you become a pure devotee of Krishna, then all these things cannot bind us. But if we are not devotees of Krishna, these are all going to plunder. प्रपञ्चं निष्प्रपञ्चोऽपि विडम्बयसि भूतले प्रपन्ना जनतानन्द सन्दोहं प्रथितुं प्रभो. My dear master, although you have nothing to do with material existence, you come to this earth and imitate material life just to expand the varieties of ecstatic enjoyment for your surrendered devotees. जानन्त एव जानन्तु किं बहुक्त्या न मे प्रभो मनसो वपुषो वाचो वैभवं तव गोचरः. There are people who say, I know everything about Krishna. Let them think that way. As far as I am concerned, I do not wish to speak very much about this matter. O my Lord, let me say this much. As far as your opulences are concerned, they are all beyond the reach of my mind, body, and words. अनुजानीहि मां कृष्ण सर्वं त्वं वेत्सि सर्वदृक् त्वं एव जगतां नाथो जगद एतत् तवार्पितम्. My dear Krishna, I now humbly request permission to leave. Actually, you are the knower and seer of all things. Indeed, you are the Lord of all the universes, and yet I offer this one universe unto you. Sri Krishna Vrishnikula Pushkara Joshadayin Kshmanir Dvijapashudadhivriddhakarin Uddharmasharvaraharakshiti Rakshasadrug Akalpamarkamarhan Bhagavan Namaste. My dear Sri Krishna, you bestow happiness upon the lotus-like Vrishni dynasty and expand the great oceans consisting of the earth, the demigods, the brahmanas, and the cows. You dispel the dense darkness of irreligion and oppose the demons who have appeared on this earth. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, as long as this universe exists and as long as the sun shines, I will offer my obeisances unto you. Hare Krishna. Thank you. So we actually took more than half an hour, but I think I just.
Thank you so much, Mataji. We generally take sometimes this long for Chaitanya Charitamrita also, so it's good. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for your support and patience.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you, Mataji. Thank you, Mataji. Very grateful to you.
Yeah, Mataji.
So we'll do it every day for the
Yes.
whole month of Purushottam Mas.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, sure, Mataji.
After maybe we can take it and after the Rath Yatra we can just sit there and do it and then come.
Maybe, yeah, in person we can do. Yeah,
we can do.
good.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.